Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while since I've played much poker. Oh, sorry, I've been playing much poker. I haven't made a video though. What I've been playing, Scoop, and then I've got back to cash. Didn't have a good Scoop, and now I am back to cash. And it's been going well. Start of the week, running well, going well, etc. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to play. I want to bring a session here where I've got different dynamics. I've got a big fish dynamic here, a little bit of fish dynamic here. I got this looks like a fish here. We're gonna kind of bet. Actually, I don't mind just giving up here, because like fish usually has a good hand. They just bet this. This is kind of more like, feels more like kind of like two pair. Yeah, I mean I could bluff this spot. I was thinking of bluffing it off, which is why I selected a 50% sizing, but it's one of these boards where fish are just really honest. I probably could have played that strategy better, but it's whatever. Okay, so I'm happy to, I want to bring like some fast forward, mostly 100 now. There's not a lot going on 1-2. This is the only 1-2 table running, but I've been doing a lot of studying on heads up lately. Like I've actually learned pre-flop ranges. I've actually like looked at some data. Tried to analyze some data anyway, based on what I have, which is like a few years of sample. It's not huge, but it's something. So it gives me an idea of a strategy. So I can bring heads up. Of course, I'm against a 50 big blind fish, so kind of changes things. I mean, there's two fish here. I kind of just want to see bet here, really small. Like try and get some value. I don't think like they're gonna. This guy's gonna bet much in terms of like pairs, so I could keep betting for value instead. I might miss a street of value here, but I could possibly check raise. If he has something, he will like give me an opportunity to check raise. Just check some down. Heads up. Yeah, so now he gives me opportunity. This guy also can call, and I'm just gonna like rip a big check raise here. I mean, you can go really as big as you want. I just think like any value he has or draw is just gonna call this. He'll probably just fold, but it's whatever. There's a lot to focus on with just the fish. To even two table in this is like probably a mistake, so I'll just get rid of the table here. Oh wow, they called. Not 100% like in my hand here. There are boats, but I shouldn't be too afraid because there's like worse flushes and a bunch of draws. I could check him, I just don't expect him to bluff, so I think I just go for value. I'll run into boats, but I also run into worse flushes and like even get called by trips, I think. So yeah, I think I'm gonna raise this. I mean I could call, I guess. Now a choice. I think my hand's like so nice that I realise equity here. Wow, call by straight. Like if I bet this, and he'll jam, and I'm in a tough spot with this hand. I'd rather, if I had like ace nine, I'd just bet call. But like I'm just gonna check and realise my equity. We delay bluff here, and I'm actually gonna bluff this. Wait, it's 4 straight. Do I want to bluff this board? Nah, I don't think I do. It's too much 5x in range. I mean, I could make him fold 2 pairs, I guess. It's a pretty close spot. I would normally free bet this, or 30 big, so trying to remember my MTT training. I don't think I want to free bet this hand and like get jammed on and lose it. I think I would build a value range on 30 big blinds around like the strong Broadway stuff, kind of, and like most of my pocket pairs. Like I'd probably jam like threes here. And then, yeah, we just play a simple strategy. Just gonna check. Start my fast forward table on the left. This is way too loose. I'm not gonna go too crazy here. I do like to bluff this spot a lot, but like I don't want to always do it. Like with a fish that comes and plays a lot, like this guy does. I think I just use his size in. A double paired board though. We're only really trying to make him fold like draws and stuff. This player, I've seen this guy. Oh, did I just donk? Oh, I just donked like an idiot. Okay, well, that's cool. I'm gonna probably fold the river. Yeah, I mean, I put myself into a spot where I just don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna get out of there. But I shouldn't have. I just didn't focus. Against this size, we're gonna defend threes. And we call here. Here, against this size, I'm just gonna fold. I have like a hand. Our hand would call against small. A half pot here. And then this size, half pot we just fold to. So this is a spot where I want to kind of size down here, and then I just pick like hands in my value range that it's like loads of one diamond hands that will call the turn. But I'm gonna check because I think I'm not gonna check right, I'm just gonna check cool. I'm gonna check this one with top two pair. Usually top set here would check a lot. Maybe two pair probably doesn't. I'd probably just bet this hand. Just fold. I mean, it's pretty close here. Check. The good thing about this spot is like he could have like a load of like offsuit, like ace queen offs and ace jack that call my size in. Unlucky I ran into it. But like they would probably bluff it. That timing felt a little bit quick, but you know, sometimes they can just be bluffs too. It's not much to read into the timing. That's just a spot I always get stacked in. Like if it's against early position, there's just not going to be very many of those type of hands. I think I'll just delay bluff here. Obviously calling. Obviously betting a turn. And then here, I'd probably like to stop myself being like mega exploited. I'd probably want to mix this as a check. I could go between 1/3 and 2/3. I could even 1/3 king x. I think I'm just going to 2/3 this though. For my sizing scheme. You'd also want to maybe mix this as a check sometimes. There was a small temptation to float this, but I think I'd like as an exploit, but I think it's maybe a little out of line without a backdoor flush draw. Like maybe if I had 7/5 off with diamond or something. Yes, you notice I'm not really c-betting because I think this type of player just bets big when he has it, and when he doesn't, he doesn't. Again, there's another spot I don't have to go crazy in, but I'm gonna do it this time. Like I just think he'll just bet when he doesn't have it. He'll just bet big. Like he's already done that before with like a big value hand. He just potted the turn. I called him down, and he just had trips. This guy's kind of short. I mean, I'll check and delay. Facing the squeeze, potentially out of position 2 people, but it is big blind, so I'll just call. Then we just small bet. We'll just call here. Potential recreational. Wow. I mean, this is a squeeze, kind of big. I think our hand's probably close to indifferent, but I usually just don't fold these hands. Betting obviously, and obviously calling here with our gut shot. Check is a good spot to bluff. I'm gonna go pretty big. I'm gonna check this one down because I think he'll call like a bunch of ace highs in this spot. And calling here. You just have an ace. Oh, he bluff catched pretty wide there, that guy. Now we're a bit small. This guy has a tendency to raise in position when he has it. Like, if I go 1/3 here and he had like a deuce, I think he would just raise. So just like c-bet in really small. He'll just min raise like any kind of like value, like weak hand, even if it's a weak value hand. And I just, yeah, no. So I can just, I think I can 1/3 range in that spot too, and just like float him and then bluff the river, because I think he won't really barrel off without equity. I would never normally do this if it wasn't that these guys were just fish. Like, I don't like this board to bluff on. I think I'll check and then just like fire the river. Pretty nice line. I mean, this blinds looks so bad. I'm very tempted to open this. I'm gonna do it. It's up to the regs to prove me wrong. Usually just half pot this. Again, do the same line against him. I mean, that hand I think is like close, but then he donks the river. And half pot. This is kind of generally overfolded, but it's a good value hand here. Not going to do anything here. I don't think fish is going to bluff here that much, so I just like to check this one down. Like you see his like 4 hinds, no chance of winning it showdown, he doesn't bluff. So the thing about this spot is, I know I unblock a bunch of like calls and stuff, but I just don't trust people to bluff in this spot, so I'm just going to rip. I think they're more likely to bluff catch than they are to bluff, if you see what I'm saying. So he's probably, if he sat there with like, yeah, you see what I mean, like 7s, he's just more likely to call. If I check, he just checks behind. I know my hand's like a good trap hand, potentially, but you just have to look at like these spots and like how the pool plays in this spot. I mean, he's also, turns out he's a fish. Unless he rebuys in the next few hands, because he might not be a fish. Usually fish regs will just rebuy to 100 bigs. I think this is a fish though. I haven't like followed as closely as I should. I think so. Yeah, like even if I'm against a reg there, I'm just always jamming the river, just because the type of hands they have, they just love to hero call. In these spots. So I'm not missing out on value in that spot anyway. I think I'll do a small free bet. Although I am deep, I can also cold call this deep, but there's like a bunch of people behind that squeeze me and just like would fuck me. So we use a small size and win deep too. I'm just gonna call here. Don't really have any notes on his strategy. Check bet 70 delay. It's an interesting note. And on this board, I'd imagine he would barrel most of his flushes. He can still have flush draws, so we can't really overbet, but like I think like most of his bluffs have 5x or flushes, so definitely think we value bet. He might check like a bet at 8-5, so like block as a size. I don't think I'm gonna fold the river. I just think he'll bluff too many like overcard club hands that he decides not to bluff the turn with. Ooh, small bet. I could raise this bet. So what do we get called by him? Ace king. I mean, I'm assuming he's a fish. Like his size isn't really using fruit. Now the question is, do I want to bluff and make him fold like an 8 or a bet a 6, or just check and like try and beat some random draw? You know, I think I prefer to check and just see what he's doing so I can read more into his strategy. Yeah, so you just did that with flush draw, which is a good worthy line to make a note of. So like, I don't know if his hands call that deep. I think this deep you don't really want to call this hand, but I mean I'm not 100% wrong. Like it's short to minutes. He bet really small on the turn. Because like his sizing doesn't make a lot of sense when deep. I'm just gonna bet this. I don't mind just like getting him to fold hands. I call this. I donk on turns that I think are good for me. Nah, this isn't good enough. Not a lot. I don't think I have a lot of donks here, just on paired turns. I'd say just generally paired turns are like the only time I'd want to donk here out of position. Okay, I ISO'd, got cold call twice. Good to know. I maybe you have to ISO bigger than 3.5. Look for like 4.55 big blinds, like getting cold call behind, and then we just get led into. How much equity do I have? I mean, I have a pair, so I beat like all the flush draws. I can make good 2 pairs and trips, but like these ranges, this could be like. I mean, I've just got to go with my hand. I think it's just too good. Oh, he bets pot. I think like you're meant to call this inferior, but I have better equity here. I'm just gonna fold against pot. Wow, we won. I wasn't even looking here. So it should be big bet a lot here. I don't think you want to like have too many small bets. Like so it's like checking here, and then generally he would check a deuce a lot probably, but he can have some of them in his betting range. But like it's mostly just Jack X, maybe weak Queen X, 8X. So these are the hands I want to pressure. So I'm kind of just like repping a deuce at this point. So I'm gonna just go big. Big size on the river. 160. Yeah, bit of a random size. And my value range here is just like trapped like sets basically, which I wouldn't have. I mean, I have it a few times based on my balanced range, but deuce X is like my most prevalent hand. I mean, I'd sometimes have sets there, even if he has no idea that I would sometimes have that. Like, I would, but like, I'm mainly repping a deuce. And the reason is I think it's like good to trap sets here. I mean, it is just as simple as some players are going to exploit you by probing too much, and that's probably one of those players that might do that. Now this hand, like, you're meant to mix as an open. I mean, I'm just gonna like bet this and fold to a raise if it's a huge raise. Or like, no, I'm just basically going for 2 streets of value here. I'm just doing what my hand wants to do against him because he's a recreational player. I just don't think he's gonna exploit me. 3BB, we're not really defending this. We used to like be a little loose in these areas, but I've tightened up. I actually like this, and I'm going to use a bigger sizing. It's like one of these range bet boards, so usually people have like some marginal some showdown value here for some reason, whatever. So like I kind of like this like spot to bluff. I think he had like an 8 or a 9 a lot, so we could just pressure this range. Go big. Like just using this small size versus a fish. Is he gonna fold like pocket 7s or king high? I have no idea. We're still gonna like bluff, see if he folds those hands. It's experimental at this point. If I get called by king high, it hasn't gone well. guess I'll call here. It's actually I fold turn. My hand is actually like not far from being a fold, but I'm still gonna call it. I'm actually gonna bet a really small value bet here. Like, because I'm gonna get floated by loads of worse ace-x. And then on the turn I just call. He's more likely to shove a flush draw. I'm just gonna 4-bet this and just get it in. This sizing feels a little bit more like he's more likely to have a hand here, but I mean I have good pot odds and yeah. Okay, we'll fold the river now. This hasn't gotten to plan. He went for thin value. I just play like my normal strategy here. There's like any crazy aggression, I'll just get out of the way. I'm not gonna like get into like some crazy leveling war with a fish. So like here for example, this has good chance of being this could be a flush draw. But like I'm also just very, very dead to value, so like I'm just gonna fold. I mean, it might not be a good fold, but I think it's just one of these spots that's like very marginal. Realistically, it was tempting to call. Don't get me wrong, it was very tempting to call because it like kind of felt like a flush draw, or like maybe like a draw of some kind. But I just feel like it's a very marginal spot to like call, and I can just like choose not to take it. But I don't think calling there is bad at all. I think it's like pretty good strategy. There's a very huge raise on this turn, and with this sort of hand strength, I'm just going to fold. It's a big raise, I'll just call. I'm just going to check raise the turn. And there's a set multi-way. Because I think this is a fish, I am going to bet here. This is a type, he can definitely check like his whole range, but yeah, he's tanked for a while and bet. So I was thinking about betting. I'm just going to raise really big here. And try and get value. He just won a decent sized pot, so maybe he's not in the mood to call. God, I'm supposed to call here for like a chop, but it's usually massively underbluffed. Not the best river. My hand isn't worth a value jam. No, I'm actually checking. I don't think I like my check in hindsight. But when he does that, I actually really love my check. Like, what the fuck? I didn't expect that, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like huge on my check, but yeah, I think my hand is supposed to sometimes call. It just depends if I think this is a type of player that like is bluffing here quite a lot. I think I'm supposed to sometimes call, so I will call on this occasion. I just don't know if this is like triple barrel spot. He also can have 5-4 suited here, but there's loads of like just 8-7, like just, you know, spades that just give up here. We have some removal to like his jack X. Hopefully this isn't like 10s or 9s. Okay, it is 10s. He probably shouldn't like fold that hand. Is there a reason to bluff this hand though? I wonder if I should bluff this in theory. Like I know I just beat like a load of the give ups here, except maybe ace king suited, but he might also just check that. But like in theory, am I supposed to bluff this? That's a very interesting question. Sometimes, I mean, I'd rather bet like, I'd rather bluff like 10-9 of spades. I don't think he folds this, so. His line is pretty good. It's a very theoretically orientated line. This guy called with Jack 9 suited like last time deep. I mean, I know there's a bunch of people behind me, but like if I can get a heads up with him, it's like just a really nice spot. Like to a free bet a linear range here. Like put this in the range. I would never free bet this against the reg. And against the 4-bet, if it's a big 4-bet, I'll just fold. If it's like a tiny one, I might call. Depends. You're just making notes about like, he does some like interesting stuff. Don't have anything for this specific client. I was actually supposed to bet here. I forgot this was a free bet part. Eight. I think 8 like can call here. Or raise. I think our hand's actually very close to a check raise. I mean, I don't think I lose much money like doing what I'm doing here. I think I would have preferred overbetting. Seeing that hand makes me just want to like regret not check raising, because it's a little bit like, I'd say maybe he should be checking that, but maybe not, I don't know. It's certainly fine. What was the board? Queen Jack 4 mono 9-7. So like he's checking in position with like good hands. Just like play a little bit more snug so I can work stuff out about how he plays. Maybe a 10 a lot, maybe a king. We might as well fire. Wait. Check raising here. Queen Jack 4-9. I'm just gonna put this guy all in. He'll call with like most of his pairs. Like 5+ out pairs. This is a fish. I think like theoretically this is like mainly a call. Because it's a fish, I'm more inclined to raise the value. I could also 4-bet call this because he's 3-betting the fish. I think like in theory this is like maybe actually just a pure fold, but I don't mind just 4-betting this and then just fold into a jam. I would fold to that, even though he has ace king, he also just has queens to aces pure, and like I just don't think it's profitable to call there. Like, but I like putting this in as a bluff because he would also 3-bet the fish wider, so his 3-bet range is a little bit wider. I think this might actually be like done in this spot in theory. I actually can't remember if it is, but either way, because it's a fish, I think I can just expand the ranges of him. Like again, this is a spot where like I would consider a free bet with his hand if there was like a fish in the blind, because there isn't. Or at least there isn't a confirmed fish. I'm just not going to do it. Not playing heads up again. I do enjoy playing heads up. I know I have all the blockers in the world, but I just pot. Just pot. Get some value with a good hand. I don't want to open this because I might get cold called here, but if he was in the blinds, I'd probably open this. This hand, I can't remember if this hand is a pure open or not. If it is, I should open this. I don't think it is though, so I'm just going to fold. Here we're just going to like raise and then barrel off. He'll just like stab a bunch of air that I'm happy to make fold at this point. I mean, I know my hand can definitely call as well, but I think even in theory this hand is like pretty close to being like a raise anyway, so yeah, realize 150 deep. It doesn't matter with my sizing that much, just something to note. And this hand's, I'm just going to fold in the spot. Some people would say cool, but I don't think you do massively well overcalling in that spot. I think even hands like the pocket pairs that are like supposed to be plus EV in theory, I just don't think, like, it depends how you play obviously, but I just don't think they do well in reality based on how the pool plays. I think you can just like do better. You can just overperform, like just overfolding slightly to free bets, just like by a few percent. Just get rid of those like marginal hands. You just do a lot better. These are 25%. I mean, at least based on how I structure my strategy, I think I do a lot better. There's a fish in a blind. I'm just going to call this. I like this as a bluff. I'm going to use a bigger size. I just realised how deep he is. I should have just potted the turn, but it's fine. And like, I think I'm not like too. I don't go too crazy multi-way in these spots. Like, there's some players that would just like pot this and just bluff off, but like, this guy can still check really good hands unless he's like really face up. And like, I actually don't mind turning this into a bluff now because it's the fish stab. Snap call. A little bit more indicative of a weak hand. I don't think shoving is worth it here on this board, but I do think like betting this size and making him fold like draws, and like I also pressure ace-x a lot for this size. If I get called by 2 pair, I'm just not that bothered. I actually could check and beat draws, but there's like jack x, queen x of hearts. I guess I'm pretty happy to make fold. I think checking it isn't out of the realms of possibility there. Oh, I didn't see this bit. I'm gonna actually size up here. I think like you can actually overbet this, but I just never see a need to overbet because like people just defend poorly against the 70% regardless. But like, I think in theory you can overbet more, especially with your value range. But I just think people defend so poorly there. We just like, it doesn't really matter what size if you go 70 or overbet. I just think like against the 30% size, and you do get raised a lot more. So like a hand like king 3, I don't think entirely wants to bet 30%. Okay, I mean this table is a little deady. I'm just gonna leave. I have 350 picks. Not even sure how I won this much, but I'll take it. I could just like go all in with this spot. This is a random, so I'm basically pot committed here, so it's regardless. So it's here, easy game, whatever. Hopefully we lose this because I want to like save my run good for bigger pots. XD. King? Oh, okay, whatever. They're gonna like bet half pot here. He's using this size. I like to bluff this spot. It's a great spot to bluff with a diamond. I can actually just give up here and beat diamonds. I don't think I want to try and fold him off ace-x. I'm actually pretty happy here to bet this turn. Yeah, you see, I'm just like not gonna make him fold too many ace-x hands. Okay, and here, I don't think this guy triple checks too many bad hands. So I think I'm just go for this size for value. And if he does triple check an ace, I don't know if he is that kind of player. He looks like he would triple check like second pairs a lot, but there wasn't really many second pairs there. I mean, he might triple check an ace. Don't really have that information on him. I think his range is probably just like 5x or like weaker pocket pairs. TBH. Coming to think about it. I want to play more heads up. More heads up for me. 2 and 2x. Is this button? No, this button. Defend versus 2 and 2x. Everyone is leaving my tables. We've got a new one going over here. This one's also dying. Got some more fast forward going. I'm checking this hand on this board. A call versus 2/3 stuff hold versus overbet. I'm not gonna check call instantly. He can definitely have 9x here as a value hand, so yeah, interesting, like he's checking that hand on the flop, so very interesting note. It just adds one of these players that is just checking them, these type of hands. Heads up. I think I can bet this. Like, I can also just check this, but like I can call like a check raise with this hand, so he could have got way more value out of his jack X, by the way, so I don't really mind how he played this. It just like makes me more happy that I decided not to like probe my range in that spot, because he's probably raising me on the turn versus a small bet. Pretty loose bet with a fish. It possibly might be profitable, or at least it's close, so why not take it? Basically gonna like force him to like think about jamming his hand on the turn. I think it is ace chat, by the way, should just always be a value, but I guess he just thought I had 9x way too often. There's a bunch of like better flush draws we make fold. Maybe he calls with like king high, so we're pretty happy to bluff this spot. Where was I sitting out this hand? Table no. It was really annoying when it does this. No time to gamble. Just making a note about his sizing. Indicates what sort of strategy he might have. No notes on this guy. 2BB open. Can be theoretically good. Can be a fish. Can mean a lot of things. Bet 47. Still nothing to really gain from that. We're just going to call. Checks very quickly. Check and beat some showdown. I think I could do. I mean, I can make him fold like some better hands, but I think I check and I can try and reach showdown here. Get this ace queen in pre-flop. Did we get showdown here? Yeah, he just gave up. Ace king. Run twice. Hit the board. Oh. Oh, one for the good guys. Oh my god, am I gonna win both? Nope, never mind. I think that would have been too lucky. This is a pure, like, jam in theory. I mean, in practice, maybe people don't 3-bet the big blind enough that maybe you shouldn't do that, but like, it's blind v blind. Ace king suit is a very good hand. I would open that sometimes against regs, but it depends on the reg. I don't think that's the guy I want to open against. I'm actually going to sell out on all my cash tables because I want to take a break, and yeah, I'll end the video there. It's been a reasonably fun session. 3.2x, I guess against this size I'd like defend a little bit less of some of the like, weaker offsuit hands that I have in my range, but yeah. And obviously it's flop we'd call. I mean you could, nah, I don't think it's good. Sometimes I think you'd even barrel this sometimes in theory in this hand, but I prefer to play my strategy here. I mean, it's obviously cool, I just don't want to call too quickly. It's a good value bet. Makes me indifferent with ace high. Wow, I just bets. I have trips. I have any reads on this guy? I beat value in this line. I just think it's blind v blind. I just got off call, right? I'll make a note on that later. I was kind of thinking really, like, it was really close to a fold there. But I just figured, I mean, it's blind v blind. I just got to call. There's just so many potential bluffs here. I just think. But then when he starts to size up the turn like that, and then pots the river, his rally range is basically just boats and flushes. So I think he checks a lot of boats, which makes our blockers not as good. But yeah, there's just every ace of diamonds, maybe jack of diamonds. So I just don't think you can let that one go, even though it's pretty close. And at least I tanked, I guess. Relatively underbluffed spot. I'd say the light texture's pretty underbluffed. The but because it's blind v blind, I just don't think I would ever fold that hand. But yeah, maybe there's like a read that he would never do that with, he would never do that with a bluff. But we'll make a note, and then if he doesn't balance his lines, we'll maybe eventually make exploits. Anyway, that was a fun session. I'm a GG it, and wish everyone a good day.